There are a lot of videos out there that talk about how to achieve cinematic lighting on a low budget. I mean, I even did one myself, but one of the things all of these videos tend to have in common is that they still require you to have a decent amount of gear. I mean, for instance, the video I did, I showed a bunch of lighting setups, but I did so using, tungsten units and grippery, things that cost about $200 for the weekend to rent. And, that's still something. But the question that I'm interested in answering is, can we go even cheaper? And the answer to that is yes, because today we're going to be talking about how to get really nice looks with just absolutely no lighting at all. So, we're going to be talking about available light, but more specifically, we're going to be talking about house lights. House lights is a term in film that just refers to the pre existing lights in a location. Say you walk into a house, you flip on the light switch, house lights. You walk into a school or an office, you flip on the lights to turn on those overhead fluorescents. Those are house lights. A lot of the people that make these cinematic lighting videos all tend to do the same thing, and that is building their lighting from the ground up. They'll go into a location, they'll turn off everything, and they will relight using all of their own units. And that's a totally fine way of doing things, but one of the things that is often completely ignored is going in and shaping and using those pre existing house lights. An example where this can specifically be really useful is if you were, say, shooting in the aforementioned school or office location. Those types of locations tend to have those nice recessed fluorescent lighting fixtures that are, lined the whole way down the hall, and those can be a really difficult thing to recreate. What a lot of larger productions will do is they will go up into those fixtures, they'll remove the lights that are already there, and they'll replace them with their own units like Titan tubes or Pavo tubes, things like that. They'll then take those tube lights and they'll use a color meter to match the color of them with the old existing fluorescents so that the lights feel real and natural. The reason that productions will do this is so that they can get more output from those fixtures while getting the right color. It'll also allow them to dim the units or turn them off altogether where they need to get shape and depth in the image. Now, if you don't have the ability to do all that, go up and replace all the fixtures in a building, because let's be honest, if you're watching this video, you probably don't. You can just use, say, the existing fluorescents and just shape it with grippery. You can go place diffusion up on the fixtures to make them a little bit softer. You can put negative fill against the wall or by camera to create some more shape on the subject. Or you can go up into those fixtures and just turn off or remove tubes altogether to create pockets of darkness to create depth. I did a lens test a couple of weeks ago and I shot all of the footage for it just out on the sidewalk and in a hallway using only the available lights that were there. And I had a couple people tell me that they really liked the look of it. So I figured we would take a look at one of the shots. So we're here in the hallway where I got that shot. I'm going to be keeping it down a little bit because I don't want to disturb my neighbors. But I want to talk about what I did to get the look I got and just show you how simple it is. All it really comes down to is having an understanding of your camera, how to expose for it, a concept of lighting, and most importantly, where to put your actor. So the biggest thing about using existing lighting on certain locations is that some locations will have lighting that really works and some will have lighting that just does not work at all. This hallway is one of the locations that I think really works. I'm afraid somebody's gonna walk into the shot. So the first thing of note about this hallway and why it works is that these overhead lights are fairly big. They're about 4 feet and they have a nice diffusion panel over them, which gives you a really nice soft quality, so I know it's going to look nice on the subject. The second thing that's worth noting is that these lights are placed very far from each other, which gives you these really nice big pockets of darkness, which is going to create mood and depth in the image. If you had, really consistent light going across the whole hallway, it might be a lot flatter and more evenly lit, which is fine, but it's a different look. Think the hallways in Severance. The last thing of note that I really liked about this hallway is that the color temperature is inconsistent. We have some of these lights are around 4300 Kelvin, and then down in the back you'll see we have some that are around 3000 to 3200 Kelvin, and I think that gives you a really nice contrast and depth in the color. You can sometimes create a lot of really nice depth by just mixing and changing up the color temperatures. Now, with all of those things noted, the only thing that I am now concerned with in terms of getting a nice shot is where do I place the actor? For instance, if you want something that looks a little bit more moody, you can put the actor so that the light is behind them, and that'll give you that more upstage key that is synonymous with a moody image. If you want something that's a little more toppy, that wraps the face, you can put them directly under the light. If you want the light to maybe be a little bit more sidey, you can just lean them against the wall so that the light is to their side. That's exactly what I did for the test. Now, I shot that test on the Sony Venice, which is a really high-end camera, but As long as you know what you're doing, you can achieve the same results with any camera. Here I am recreating that shot using the Nikon ZR, which is a camera that is $78,000 cheaper than a Venice. As long as you know how to work with the lighting, you can achieve this type of thing anywhere. For the exterior shots of the lens test, I just set them under a tree next to a building so that they basically had a giant negative fill, and then for the key, it's just ambient sky coming in. Easy. Now all you have to do is just make sure you get those midtones. Plenty of movies have used house lights, and plenty of films have supplemented and shot using house lights as a base. So I guess I'll leave this video by saying that it really depends on your look, your style, what you want to achieve. I am somebody that personally really loves grounded, naturalistic looking cinematography. Think Roger Deakins and Emmanuel Lubezki, for instance. Euphoria is a beautifully shot show. It looks incredible, but it is very stylistic. And that's just not my thing. I tend to try to just get images that feel real. And what I see a lot of the times is people just break their backs trying to create lighting that feels real and natural by just using so much stuff. At the end of the day, sometimes the best way to get an image that looks realistic and looks natural is to just use the real lights that are there. Anyway, that's all I gotta say for this one. Thanks. Bye.